Hey, JulesBlessedVegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. So people, I'm distraught beyond measure because we had to put our little dog Indy to sleep, and it literally just happened. And I still want to check in because we are doing the 14 days of the Stations of the Cross, and in case you're following that, I wanted to be accountable. So today is the 5th station, and the 5th station is when Jesus is trying to carry that cross, right? He's already fallen. He's been beaten, as we know. He's condemned to death. He's on the street with people being vicious and screaming and yelling and awful. He's encountered his mother, whom he loves so dearly, and he's continuing along the Via Dolorosa, and it's so apparent. Like, really what it was they were almost afraid he was going to die before they were able to kill him. I'm not even kidding you. And so they grab a civilian out of the crowd, which happened to be Simon of Cyrene. He was from Cyrene, and his name was Simon, and he was just like, no, please no. Don't get me into this. Don't involve me. I don't hang out with the Jews. I'm not associated with this guy. Please don't do this. And God, for whatever reason, chose Simon, and Simon had to help Jesus bear that cross. And certainly by the time he got to Calvary with Jesus, he was, by all accounts, converted at the miracle of Christ. But in that moment, he did not want to be part of that walk. And so what I think about that is that in terms of just our walk and changing our lifestyle and everything else, sometimes people get pulled in, and it can be very difficult for them. We have to be grateful and loving and patient and kind with those who don't necessarily want to go on that journey with us. And it might be a family member. It might be a dear friend. It may be a binge buddy that you binged with forever, that didn't want to be on that walk with you. So I think the message is that, well, we most certainly may need support. And to be fair, Jesus did need support. He was so broken he could hardly bear that cross. That those who are on our journey don't necessarily want to be, and so we have to be patient and kind with them as well. All right, that said, let me share about Indy for a second, please. So that precious little kid on the icon is my darling little Indy, and I call him my little boy because he was so precious and only 11 and a half years old, you know, and when he came to us, he was supposed to be a little teacup. His sister was a little teacup, and she was this tiny little chihuahua, and we thought Indy was going to be small, and he just kept growing. He grew these gangly legs and these funny little ears like those goats who have those tipped up ears, and his chest was too big. Everything was wrong. He looked like a conglomerate, you know. It was really funny, and we didn't know what would happen, but he did ultimately grow into himself, and he turned out to be so cute. He did over time come into his own, but at the time he was very afraid of everything. Dale brought him home when he was only 3 weeks old, and he was in a little tiny bed to the right of me on the floor, and I would reach down and check on him. And he was just scared of everything. If Dale put on a cap, he'd start barking like he didn't know him. Like everything flipped him out. We'd bring him to get groomed. He couldn't. He just couldn't stand the noise of the razor. I always thought of him as ADHD. Like he just couldn't handle a lot of things. If he was a kid, he would have been labeled ADHD. But he was so precious. And from day one, Dale said, "You've got to take care of your mama." And Indy was absolutely dedicated to everything for me. He followed me all over the house. He waited outside the bathroom door. He would know whether I came home at 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I never knew when I'd come home. 10 minutes before I arrived, he'd go to the door and wait. He just absolutely knew. If I was gone overnight, it made Dale crazy because Indy would not stop crying. He was just my little guy. He just, oh my gosh, loved me so much. And I loved him so much too. And I don't know, it was crazy. By all accounts, he was running around with all the other kids, being as silly as he always is. And a couple of days ago, Dale noticed that he was kind of breathing heavy, even though he wasn't doing anything to speak of. And this went on for a couple of days. And today we both happened to be home, and we were like, we better take him because maybe he has pneumonia or something, and he needs antibiotics. We didn't know what it was. And they did a blood test. It came out great. They did a urinalysis, perfect. Then they did a chest x-ray, and his entire chest was just absolutely riddled with tumors. His lungs were literally being closed out by the masses in him, and he never said anything. I poked around, I checked him, even just today. I mean, yes, he was breathing hard, but nothing about him said, Mom, I'm in trouble. He never complained about anything. Oh my gosh, he was just so precious and loving to all of his siblings. He was just so goofy. Yeah, he's still, all these years, 11 and a half years, he still slept by me every night. He was just from God, literally from God. And I couldn't stand giving him back to God. I could not stand that for nothing. But the doctor just said that even giving him a cortisone shot or anything else would not ease his burden. And I know that animals are saved, right? They don't have a soul. They don't have lessons to learn. Dog is God spelled backwards, and they're just here to love. And Indy loved. All he did was love every minute. And I would have done anything for him, anything. But in the end, what I had to do for him was let him go. I'm just sick to my stomach. I wanted to check in, but I really wanted people to know that a really precious little person left the planet tonight, and that I was really honored and blessed to be his mom. All right, my friends, like if you like, join us. If you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you, and please pray for us. We still have 10 other animals here, and they're all blessed and loved, but I had to pause and acknowledge that Indy, a very special little person, left the planet. And until we talk again, best of all, know that you're blessed.